Good morning, everyone. Today is the second class of our computer-aided design for the second-year students in the semester 1. I'm going to give you an introduction about the armatures inside Blender. In this tutorial, you will know what's armature for, what its functions, and you will know how to create armature and bones. Third, you will know the basic composition of bones. Fourth, you will know how to edit bones and edit armatures. Finally, you will know how to rig bones, using your bones and armature to control your 3D model so that you can create your own pose and using poses to make your animations. Alright, let's get started. For the first part, let's talk about what's the functions of the armatures and bones. Here is the zombie model made by myself. As far as you can see, on the surface of this model, it contains a lot of details, including all these kinds of snails, the detail of the clothes, and the detail of the shoes. If we switch to wireframe mode, let's press Z and go to wireframe. You can see there are many vertices on the surface of the model. If we want to use an edit mode to change the pose of the model and using this way to make animation, it's almost impossible because once you change the model, it cannot go back. So, the function of armature and bones is that it's just like a controller that can help us to control your 3D model. Let's press Z, switch back to render mode. Now, as far as you can see, I have already set up a set of armature for this model. And all the little sticks inside this armature, we call this one bones. And some of the bones was for the model. Some of the bones is just like a controller to control the bones. So let's take a look. If I want to change the pose and the gesture of this model, how can we do that? Let's take a look. We can use these two sticks and press G, Z to change the positions and the focal point of the eyes. And also, we can use these two sticks to change the face expression. You can get angry or get surprised. For sure, we can also use these sticks to change the mouth. You can open up or we can close. And you can smile as well. Just like this. And for sure, you can rotate your head just using the bones. And also, we can use the handle right here to control the hand. And you can use this handle to control the gesture of the hand. For sure, for the leg is the same thing. And you can change the positions of the root bone, so that everything will be changed. So, through control of the bones, we can use this way to control our model, so that we can use this way to create a set of animations. So that's the function of armature. That's the function of the bones. Alright, so now let's talk about how to create armature and bones. And also, I will give you guys some general idea about the composition of armatures and bones. Let's go back to Blender. As far as you can see, inside this file, I have already created a lot of bones. Before we start the tutorial, I need you guys to do something for me. First thing, let's go to Edit, Preferences, and please go to the Add-ons, and type Rigify on the search bar and check this box. Second, please type in VUR on the search bar and also check this box. Once you finish these two operations, you can turn off your Blender preferences. And what's the function of shortcut VUR? If you didn't see the right side panel, you can press N key to turn on the right side panel. And right here, you can see your shortcut VUR add-on. Please press this button, Start Shortcut VUR. And now, no matter what kind of key you have pressed on your keyboard, it can be seen on your screen right here. If you don't like your hint be put on the corner, you can change the position right here. For example, I'd like to put the hint in the center, so it will be put right here. And what's the function of Rigify? If you press Shift A and go to Armatures, you can see there are more options than before. And here are some of the default templates provided by the Rigify add-on. We can use this one sometime, but usually I would suggest you guys, as a beginner, please try to make your own armatures design, because every model is different, and every model scene, every animation scene is different. So please try to make your own armature design by yourself, rather than use this kind of default setting. Okay, so now let's start to create our first armatures. We can go to the right outliner to turn off the visibility of collection 1 first. And let's go back to the world center. As far as you can see, here is the cursor. Remember, the position of the cursor is very, very important. When you are going to do your armature design, or when you are going to construct your armature, it's better to be located on the center. So sometimes if I accidentally move the cursor to somewhere else, how can we move this one back? Or how can we move the cursor to the target positions? For now, we need to use in Shift S, and you can use this too. Selection to cursor to move the object to cursor. Or you can move your cursor to the target selections. And for this time, we are going to use this one. Cursor to world origin. So it can move your cursor back to the world origin. Alright, so now let's create your armature. Let's press Shift A and let's choose in single bone. That's the first way to create a bone. Very easy. Let's delete this one, and now I need to switch to select box so that I won't move this one anymore. And you can press Shift S to set to world origins. Let's delete the first bone, and let's go to here, add armatures and single bone. That's another way to create a bone. Basically, it's the same things. There's no difference between using hotkey or using a scroll down list. It's just up to you. If the first one is more handy for you, you can use in the first one. Alright, so for now, let's talk about the structure of the bone. As far as you can see, on the right side outliner, this bone was named Armature 007. So if you select this one, let's go to the scroll down list on the left side. You can see there are 3 different types of mode right here: object mode, edit mode, and pose mode. For object mode, there's no difference between the bone and model. It's just a single object, and you can move this one, you can rotate this one, but as far as you can see, the rotation of the object mode, it will based on the root. We will expand this one later. And for sure, you can scale up or scale down. Alright, so it's just like a single object, just like a single model. You cannot edit the sub-elements of these armatures. If we go to the edit mode, as far as you can see, now we can select the sub-object of this bone. And usually, we will call this one son. And this one, we will call father. Remember, son will always follow the movement of the father. And for now, we can move this one, but the way of movement is different. For sure, we still can rotate, but when you select the bone through rotation, well, you will find a little difference between the object mode and edit mode. The rotation of the edit mode, it will based on the center of the bone. Alright, so final thing, that's the most important one, pose mode. Once you go to the pose mode, as far as you can see, your bone will become light blue color. And if you remember, we call this one son, and we call this one father. And son will always follow the movement of the father. Just like in the real world, the hand skeleton will always follow the movement of the arm skeletons, right? So that's the logic. So remember that when you are going to design the armatures, remember this hierarchy and this system. The son will always follow the father. And what's the function of post-mode? If you are going to using bone to control your model, you must under post-mode to do that. Okay, so for example, when you are going to using this bone to control your arm or your hand, you need to do the rigging. We call this action rigging or rig. You must do this action inside post mode. You cannot do that under edit mode or object mode. And what's the function of edit mode? So for the post mode, it's for rig. And for edit mode, it's for edit the armatures. Okay, that's for rig, and that's for edit arm. And for object, basically it's just for, well, move the overall object. Alright, so remember the different function for different mode, because some people will get very confused when they first learn this class. Post mode is for rig, edit mode is for edit the armatures, and for object mode it just move for the overall object. Alright, so now let's take a look. Right now we have this one. We have the armature 7. If I press Shift A again, well, we will create another new armatures. So if I want to, for now we only have one single bone. If I want to create some structure like a hand or like an arm, do I need to do that? Do I need to move this one to here, and then to we can use Shift D to copy again and do this one like an arm or like a spine? Is that the right way to do the to make the armature? For sure, it's not. Remember, for every armatures, well, basically it can contain many different bones inside, and usually based on my experience, for one armature, it's only for one model. One armature for one model. So for example, like if you make a zombie model, just like what I have showed to you guys before, well, usually it will only contain one armature. So how can we add armature inside? Let's go to edit mode. Just like what we said before, if you want to edit your armatures, well, let's go to edit mode. So if you want to add more, for sure you can press EZ, well, for extrusion. Now we will have more bones. You can select, this is the bone 1, that's the bone 001, bone 002, and this is the root bone, alright? And for sure, under the armature, you still can add more bone here. Let's press Shift A. Oh, so now we have another new bone, and it's still under the armature 7. It's called armature, the bone 003. Okay, so remember this hierarchy. For the armatures, well, it can contain many different bones, and you can go to edit mode to add different bones or more bones to one armatures. But if I want to combine these two things together, can we do that? Yes. We can choose this one first. This is armature 008, and which means if you choose this one first, which means it will be the sum, and it will be changed based on the father. So let's choose this one second, and press Ctrl J for join. As far as you can see, it rotates because this one has been rotated before. Okay, so this is the basic idea about the structure, the composition of the bone. Okay, for now let's take a look about how to edit armature and bones, including add more segments or disconnect the bone and reconnect the bone. Let's turn off the visibility of the first collections. Press Shift A to create a new single bone. Now this is the new armature 007. You can press Tab key. You can use in this one to show your hotkey operations. So let's press hotkey, Tab key, and you can go to edit mode. Or you can just use in this scroll down list to select the mode you want to use. Let's go to edit mode. Press E and Z for extrusion, E and Z for extrusion. Let's do this one 3 times. Press E, which means extrusion, and Z means Z directions. So now we have finished the editing of the bones. And as far as you can see right now, we have more segments. That's the way we can use for add more detail and more segments for our bones. So let's go to the pose mode. We can do the rotation right now. Let's press R and Y to the rotations. R and Y for the rotations. Okay. So in the pose mode, all the operation you did, it will keep like this. Okay, it will keep the pose which you just added. But if you switch back to the edit mode, it will go back to the default setting. Why is that? It's because for the pose mode, it was made for you to make your animation and the pose for your character. So if once you finish your adjustment, if you go back to the very beginning, which means all the things you did was a waste. So in the pose mode, the operation which you did to the bone, it will keep like this. But if you go back to edit mode, it will go back to the default setting because it will be easier for you to do the operation, including add more bone or delete the bones. Now let's take a look about how to connect the bone and disconnect the bone. First thing, let's press Shift D to copy one more bone. Okay? So as far as you can see, in between these two bones, there is a little dot between these two guys. If we go to the pose mode, and let's do the rotations, well, it doesn't affect anyway. But if you do using the root bone to control, well, it do has the connections. Let's go back to the edit mode. So this little dot line, which means there is a relationship between this bone and that bone. Okay? So how can we create this kind of relationship? First thing, let's take a look. Let's try to disconnect this bone with his father. Let's press Auto P. Auto P means clear parent. If you choose an Auto P, there will be 2 options which will show up. First one is clear parent. Second one is disconnect bone. If we choose in the first one, clear parent, and then we can move this one away, you can see there's no little dot line in between these 2 bones. Let's go to the pose mode. Let's do rotations. It doesn't be affected anywhere. So which means it was totally disconnected with its father. So for now, this one has no relationship with his father. Now let's go back to this edit mode. Let's try to disconnect the third bone again. Let's press Auto P. This time we choose disconnect bone. If we move this one away, well, you will see there is still a little dot line right here, which means still this one has a relationship with its father. So when we go to the pose mode, if we rotate these guys, well, it still show the relationship. It still will move, follow its father, but they will keep their distance between the son and the father. Okay, so let's write down the note right here. Auto P and clear P and disconnect. For this one, totally disconnected. Sorry, my mistake. I have to remove this part. For clear P, it will totally remove the relationship. Disconnect, it will keep the relationship, but will also keep the distance between father and son. Now let's duplicate this armature. Let's go to Object Mode and choosing the armature 007, press Shift D and move this guy to the side. Let's use armature OOA to do the practice of the connect ball. Let's go to edit mode. Now I want to connect this bone back. So if I choose this one, for the first one it will be son. The second one will be father. Let's press Ctrl P. And you can see there's two options. The first one, keep offset. Second one, connected. For now, the keep offset cannot be used because for now it already keep offset. So the only thing we can do is connected. So for now, these two bones has been rejoined. And for this one, let's choose this guy and choose its father. Ctrl P. We can choose keep offset. So for now, the relationship has been brought back. Okay. So now you will understand if we're using Ctrl P right here. The first one, connect, which means it was related to clear P. Basically, it's the opposite operations. And the second one is related. It was the opposite operation of disconnect. Okay, so that's the basic operation of the bombs. You can use in this way, go to the edit mode and using E and Z to do the extrusion to add more segments. And also you can use Auto P to disconnect the bone or clear the parent. You can also use Ctrl P to reconnect and to do the relative operation between the bones. Okay. So finally, let's talk about how to rig your model and your armatures. Let's choose all the objects in the collection one. Press G and Z, move them up. The thing we're going to do is just like this. That's the first one. Let's try to rig the box to the bones. And then we will talk about how to use an automatic way to do the rigging. And finally, using manually rigging. Okay, so let's get started. First thing, we still need to create a new armatures. Let's press Shift A and go to armatures, single bond. Press Tab key, go to the edit mode. Select a song, move this one up. Choosing a bone, right click and choosing subdivide. You can change the number right here and I will choose 3. This is another way to create more segments on your bone, just like extrusion. Basically, they are the same, but the only difference is that using this way, using subdivide, you can choose in certain area to add more detail. Alright, press Tab key, go back to object mode. Let's press Shift A, create one cube. Scale down. Press G and Z, move this one to the center of the bone. Shift D again, G, Z. Shift D, G, Z. You can keep like this, but for me, I hope the cube can be more accurate. It can be located on the side of the bone more accurately. So I need to do some change about the display setting to make the bone be in front of the box. Of course, you can switch to the wireframe mode, press Z key, switch to the wireframe mode. But I want to keep in the solid display mode. So how can we make the bone be in front of the box? Let's choose the bone. Go to the object data property on the right side. Go to the view port display, choosing in front. Once you choose these options, well, the bone will be always in front of your model, no matter which perspective you use. Okay? So now let's go back to the front view. Let's press G and Z, move this one to the side just like here. G and Z. It doesn't have to be very accurate, but well, more or less. Okay, just like this. So let's choose all of them, Shift D, copy one more. Another one is for backup. So let's take a look. The first thing I want to do is object rigging. So under the object mode, we still can do the rigging. Basically, rigging is just about to create a relationship, parent relationship between your model and your bone. the model will be the sum and the bone will be the parent, so that we can use in bone to control your model. So that's using the first way, object mode, to do the rigging. Choosing the model first, choosing the bone second, press Ctrl P, and as far as you can see, it will have a lot of options. For this time, we will not using all of them, just to explain some of them. So let's choosing this one, bone. Set parent to the bone. Once you finish this operation, well, the box will move along with your bone, right? And also you can do the operation inside post mode. But you will see this one. If you move the sub bone, like bone 001 or bone 002, well, it won't move. But if you move the root bone, well, it will move. So basically, the parent is only about the root bone, not about the other ones. Okay? So that's the object mode. Let's try to do another one. Let's select the box first and press Alt P to clear the parent. Now I want to use in the ordinary way to do the rigging, to make all the box be controlled by the segment of the bones. How can we do that? Let's choosing the box first and choosing the bone second. Go to post mode. Choosing the bone you want to use, Ctrl P, and choosing bone. So for now, this box has been controlled by this bone, the bone 001. Let's do the repetitions, just follow the same operation. Choosing the box, choosing the second bone, Ctrl P, bone. Choosing the box, choosing the bone, Ctrl P, Ctrl P. Okay? So now as far as you can see, well, the box will be controlled by different bones. So that's the reason we want. Alright? So once we finish this operation, let's press Shift D, move one more. Still keep the rigging, keep the parent relationship. If you remember, we have tried to explain what's the difference between the connect and the relative. Now I want to show you what's the difference if we were using these two trees on rigging. So if we go back to the edit mode, let's take a look. Alright, so if we go back to the edit mode, let's take a look. As far as you can see, the box still keep in the same position. If we move this bone to here, well, as far as you can see, the box will, once we switch to the post mode, the box will follow the movement of the bone and immediately be connected to the bones. Okay? But let's try another one. If we disconnect this one, press Alt P, and let's choosing disconnect the bone. So which means we still keep the relationship. Alright? Once we go back to the post mode, well, it will be like this. Okay? So that's the difference. Alright? So for the connected bones, it will be immediately connected to the bones. But for this one, actually it will not be affected. Alright? So that's the basic way to do the rigging. But as far as you know, actually our model is not always like that, like this kind of independent box. So if we want to do the intact object rigging, how can we do that? For example, like an arm, or like a swarm, or maybe some organic creatures. How can we do that? So now let's take a look about this one. That's the things we're going to do. Using the bone to control this box and make the box be deformed with the bone. Alright? Just like this. So there are two different ways to do that, and one is very manually way to do this one, and very complicated, and another one is relatively easy, and that's the most common used way to do the rigging. So let's start with the manually way first. Press Shift A, create a cube. Press G and X, move the cube to the side. Right? Press S and X, scale up in the X directions. GX again, move more. Go to edit mode, Ctrl R to create more segment. I think first segment will be fine. Alright, once you finish, press Tab key, go back to the object mode. Alright, So for now, I want to create a bond in the center of this face. If you remember, I would suggest you guys don't do things like this because it's better for you to create a bond in the center of the word. But this time, well, I just want to demonstrate to you guys about how to do the rigging. So this is different. Let's go to Edit Mode and choosing the face right here. Shift S, cursor to select it. Move the cursor to the center of the face. Now Shift A to create armatures. So now we have created a bone in the center of the face. Go to the front view. And remember that's choosing in front, so it will be always in front of the model. Go to the tab view, Edit Mode, and we can hold on your Control key to snap your bone to the grid. But for this time, it's not very good. Let's try to do it another way. Go to the Object Mode, press R and Y, rotate in 90 degrees. Alright, now let's go to the Edit Mode. For now, I wanted to do the snap to edge or vertex. And this time, I think edge will be fine. So let's choose an edge. Hold on your Control key. So as far as you can see, it has been snapped to the edge. Press E and X, extrusion and Control, snap to the edge. E and X, Control key, snap to the edge. E and X, just finish the operation. Alright, so now we have 4 segments. It's a little bit different from the top example, but well, I think you can understand, basically they are the same. So for the first one, actually it's really complicated. If we want to make the box be deformed, follow the deformation of the bone. Basically, we need to assign, let's choosing another annotate. We have to assign all these vertices to the bone, which means, for example, this is the bone 1, and all the vertices right here, it will be controlled by the bone 1. And all the vertices right here, it will be controlled by the bone 2. And right here, it will be controlled by the bone 3, just like this, etc. Alright? So how can we do that? First thing, we need to assign a deformer for this cube. Let's go to Modifier, Add, Armatures. And you need to choose the object as these guys. Alright? The armature 010. Second thing, we need to choose in the object and go to here, Object Data Property. Under the vertex group, we need to assign the vertex to the target vertex group. And what's the meaning of the target vertex group? For example, if you want to assign these 4 vertex to this bone, we need to create a vertex group which name bone 003 and assign all these vertex to this vertex group. So let's do the following operation, okay? This one is bone 003, this one is bone 002, this one is bone 001, and this one is just bone. So let's try to do that. First thing, choosing this one, go to the Object Data Property and create a new vertex group. This one is bone, okay? And this one is bone 001. Let's just do the following operation. Bone 001, bone 002, and bone 003. Okay, just like this. But for now, it doesn't have any special effect right now because we haven't assigned the vertex into the vertex group. So let's go to Edit Mode. Choosing the vertex selection mode, choosing all the vertices right here. Remember, you need to switch to the wireframe mode so that you can select the back face vertex. Choosing them and choosing Assign. Okay, so that will be here. Now choosing the second row of the vertices, Assign, Assign, Assign. Okay, so now it's supposed to work. Let's try to go to the pose mode. Press R key. As far as you can see, now we can using the bone to control the vertex to change the deform your box. Alright, so that's how it works. That's the theory. But if we always do rigging like this, it will be super complicated. If you have some high detail, high polyphysis model, it will be super complicated. So let's go set up the bone to the base setting, to the default setting. Press Auto R, bring them back to the default setting. And let's duplicate this one. Shift D and move them to the side. And for this time, I want to delete all of them. Let's just go to here, click this little arrow, delete all unlocked group, and also we can delete the armatures deformer. So easy way is that just choosing the model, choosing the bone, and it doesn't have to be under the pose mode. You can choose pose mode or object mode, both of them can be fine. Just choosing the pose mode, okay? Ctrl P. And you can see now we have all this option. It's about how to do the rigging. Usually we will use this one. It will automatically assign the vertex to the closest bones. So let's choose an automatic way. Alright? So once you finish this operation, well, as far as I can see, it will be like this. And much more smooth than before. Alright? So why it can work like this? Why we don't have to assign the vertex to the vertex group? Well, actually it's about weight. Let's take a look. Let's press Auto G and Auto R to set the bone to the default setting. And let's choosing the model. Let's choosing wet paint. Well, as far as you can see, there is some color right here. If we choosing the bone right here and we're choosing this one, and now choosing this guy, we're choosing the bone right here, choosing this one, okay? And let's go to here, choosing the wet pen. Well, it will the yellow color means all the vertex right here, it was controlled by the bone, the first bone. For the green area, well, it will be control less to the bone 1, but probably we will be controlled a little bit by the bone 2. And if we go to the object mode, choosing probably the last one, okay? Go to the pose mode, choosing the last one, and let's choosing the model. Switch to the wet pen. As far as I can see, well, all the vertex right here, it will be controlled by the first bone. But right here, the vertex right here, it will only be controlled a little bit by the first one, the bone 003. Okay, so that's the idea. Basically, well, it will create a gradient controlling for the vertex and the bones. So it compared to automatic manually rigging, it will be much more smooth and the performance will be better. So, is there any way to change the automatic weight painting, automatic weight rigging? Yes, for sure. So, right now we are under the weight paint mode, right? So we can go to tools and choosing mix. Right now the weight is 100. So if you want the vertex right here will be also controlled by the bone 003, you can just paint on the vertex. Remember, you must paint on the vertex so that you can paint more color. So let's try to do this. So this part right now is red color, and this part I think it can be stronger. So let's try to increase more. If you don't want to be this part will not be controlled by the bone 003. Let's change the weight to 0, and also we can enlarge the brush. And now if we draw, well, it will remove. Okay, so my idea is like this. These two vertices will be controlled by the bone 003. So now let's go to the object mode, choosing your bone and choosing the pose mode. Let's do the rotation, R and Y. Well, as far as I can see, it will be like this. Okay? And for sure, in the real situations, your model, if you have an organic and high detail model, it will have more vertices. So the real situation will be way more complicated. But here, that's the idea about weight paint. Usually, we were using automatic weight paint, but just in some cases, if there is some problem, we will use manually weight paint. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to do the review and do the practice so that you can keep improve yourself and have better skills. Okay, so see you next time.